Hello everybody, Inspector Tyler here. Now, you may be wondering, what are we looking at here? And the answer to that question is this is a game that I've had my eye on for a while, I never really looked into it any. I got the opportunity to play it here. I don't know. I don't know anything about this game. I don't know what to expect. Um, this seems to be, from what I saw of the video, this looks to be a pretty interesting game. I don't know how to describe it really. There's no main menu, which I thought was kind of sucky, but we'll just click new game here. I haven't played any of the game. We'll be experiencing this all together. I've seen no one play this, and I've never looked into what this game really is, but it seems like my style of game, just based on the video that I watched, so I'm looking forward to getting to play it. So, without further ado, let's get started. If I can click the button. Oh yeah, and if I didn't say the title, this is What Remains of Edith Finch. This is a very loud intro. Oh. I wonder who the flowers are
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
for. Going to start at the beginning with the house. Ooh.
Someone had put up a chain link fence, but it looked like I wasn't the first person to hop it.
I wonder why we hopped it.
My brother Milton disappeared when I was 4. It was like the house just swallowed him up.
Oh, so we've been here before. We're reliving family past. I had a nice conversation about family past here recently. Maybe that's
I lived
why
here until I was
became
11,
in the mood.
but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
The conversation I had prior to this might have been the reason why I felt like I needed to play this game. Open this mailbox here. It's a pretty cool mailbox.
Inside the
too,
mailbox
honestly.
were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
So they didn't have money, I'm guessing. Quite the newspaper collection.
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
Are we trespassing?
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
It's down here. Let's find out. Ribbit. Missing poster. I wonder why they posted missing posters out here.
The truth is,
They were the only ones out here.
even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
A lot of missing posters out here. It's
The
quite
woods around the
eerie.
house have always been uncomfortably silent. As if they're about to say something, but never do.
Honestly, that's kind of the feeling I was going to describe. It's a very pretty game. May not be as graphically intense as other AAA titles, but this is very beautiful. Kind of gloomy. Probably would have just led me over here. Something up there. I know it's probably a waste of time to go back, but it's deer. Oh, that's cool. Alright, let's go back. No point in me staying here.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
That is one immaculate house. Also, interesting design.
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words.
Is it because it was structurally unsound? Because, I don't know, Chief. I don't think a tree growing through the middle of it was very stable. Or maybe that was what made it stable.
Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
Ooh, why are we afraid of the house? What's wrong with the house that makes us so afraid? Oh, dog go. Anything in here? Anything in here? Oh. Aw, man, is there gonna be jump scares in this game? Oh, there
Crawling
is,
through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
If I'm honest, I was expecting a jump scare. This whole game just has an uneasy feeling about it. The dialogue almost,
The power had been turned off the night we left.
dialogue almost ceased to,
For the first time in years,
first time in years, what?
I felt like I was home.
Dialogue almost sees to it that you feel uneasy about entering.
But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
So that's her brother. Oh, didn't mean to.
Like how after Lewis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
That's funny, I have a cat named Molly.
Or
Chinese
how only
takeout.
one restaurant would deliver to our house. So we had Chinese a lot.
Quite an odd family. Why would they take out so much with all these dishes? I guess they were quite the family based on the family tree that we saw in the pause menu. A lot of tuna goodness. A lot of books. Suppose there isn't much to do out here.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left.
I wonder why they left in such
It was like a
hurry.
bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
I wonder what happened to Grandma.
My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great-Grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
There's a hint. I'm sure.
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just Too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth. Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
Odd way of words. What is this?
Great-Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house.
Huh, how beautiful. Oh, this is the kitchen. So many books. I don't suppose we want to go up just yet.
Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
Oh no. It's odd.
My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
Wonder if she handed it
A lot
out
of
to
things got
everyone.
left behind in the whirlwind of that last night.
I just want to know more about what the last night was.
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
Oh. Silicone shut. Oh man.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms.
Oh, this
Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
gives me such a odd vibe.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
Why would they seal it up? What's with the drag marks?
Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him. Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
Oh no. Let me see if there's anything else to see. They seal up the rooms. Molly.
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
So they seal up the rooms whenever a person dies.
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
So she was a Hollywood star.
Edie's father, Odin, built the original house. Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it.
I don't know. There's power. for what? Oh, that's just weird. I'm not one for horror games. I'm not one for thrillers, to be honest, either. So, I'd be lying if I said this game didn't give me a little bit of the
The
creeps.
last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
So are they buried in here? Or... Huh. Calvin.
My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
That's quite weird.
As a
Gregory.
kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
So some rooms didn't have peepholes?
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
Why? There's secrets in this house. But unfortunately, that's what I'm scared of. To know what the secrets were. Time to find out, I suppose. Not even
From the
enough
paintings
room
on
to
the wall, it
stand
was
up.
clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
He was quite the artist.
Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan, but I had no idea what was behind that door. Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
That's for sure. Molly's room. Molly. Wasn't Molly their cat? Let's open Molly's diary, I suppose.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary,
Oh,
I'll be
dear.
gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Oh dear.
The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Oh no.
I ate a lot of things that night.
Oh, you're not supposed to eat that.
I kept eating and eating.
Oh.
Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly, I was a cat. I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
weird. Nope, nope, that's not where I want to go. Where do we go from here? Birds up there. That's too far to jump. Oh, I see. So wait, were we the cat the whole time?
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
It's bizarre. But simultaneously visually amazing.
Rabbits.
I 100% missed that rabbit.
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
Could be bigger.
A mama rabbit.
Why do you have to specify?
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
I get this is a child's tale, but I'd be lying if I said this.
I
makes
rolled off a cliff and into the ocean.
I take it
Now,
back.
I was hungrier than ever.
Oh, this is so confusing.
I wanted fat, juicy seals. I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
Shark smell blood if we tore off a flipper. Where'd she go? There she is.
Grabbed on tight. But I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed. Now
Weird
I was a
octopus
monster,
then?
and I smelled people everywhere.
So now we're not even human. Not even an animal.
I was big, but I moved real quiet.
This music makes it so much
I
more
wanted to
eerie.
stop, but also I didn't. After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water, I smelled
So is this?
something I had to have, so I swam towards it.
Is this what the house does to people? Turns them
I
into
slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
turns them into things that they don't even understand.
I
This is
got
the
closer and
house.
closer.
This is Molly's room.
All my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
I wish I could show you guys the goosebumps on my arms.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have. I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here
Just heard a cat.
before my mom sealed the doors.
I honestly can't describe how big the goosebumps on my arms were. Where'd the cat go?
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories.
Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
On to the next Finch.
I spent a lot of time in Great Grandma Edie's room.
Bob. Burpee. Why do we keep a snake? Most definitely was not a Finch. Burpee. It's a lizard named Rob. Quite the
Louis
painter.
died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Edie knit me a new pair of gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones.
I wonder if the gloves that I'm wearing, built 1937, Sven
When Edie
Finch.
told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
That wouldn't make as good of a story. That's what it's all about.
Even in her 90s. Sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Clearly we were quite close.
Her room was like a museum.
Odin.
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
Interesting, he took the house with him. I'm not sure that was the easiest.
But
thing.
40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea.
Oh, well, there you go. That's what I was entailing, but you can actually see Odin standing on top of the house there trying to save it.
Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island.
Husband Sven and baby Molly.
Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery.
Interesting that it looks like the old house. But I suppose a captain never goes down without a ship.
His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Quite happy. Oh, that wasn't the button I meant to press. How do we put this down? There we go.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Death and thereafter. So I wonder if Grandma was the reason for all the books.
Edie
Trying
gave
to
a big interview
understand the
about a mole man
past.
living under the Finch house. My mom was furious. I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time.
Who is Edith Senior?
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
Brave woman standing up against a forest fire like that. Some would say foolish. But she didn't want to let this house go. This Finn's hat we just saw him wearing, actually. Suppose it's time to learn the story. Oh. Oh yeah. This is interesting.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom.
It was a pretty big trace.
Yeah. That's no joke. What's that? Bleach? There's a secret in this bathroom.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Looks like a developing room.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Calvin Finch. That looks fairly new. Perhaps these were just before they were finished. Definitely a photographer like myself. Come to respect a man who knows how to develop photos. That's one thing I would always love to do, is learn how to develop photos. But it's hard to find cameras that take photos like that, let alone ones that a way to develop photos. This is Calvin's room, I'm assuming. That was in the photos back there. That's in the photo there. Quite the room, actually. This is really cool. Probably had wars with each other, fighting as brothers do. Wanted to be a military photographer, it appears. Correction, might have been a military photographer. I can't. No. Oh, certificate of acceptance. He went to the Marine Corps. There was the camera. All the film.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
Calvin, 1950 to 1961. 11 years old whenever he died.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom, and he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again, and he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
I guess that's why I wanted to be
Calvin, dinner's ready. Coming.
there's something I'm missing.
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother. The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
A lot of tragic deaths in the family, it seems. Perhaps that's what they mean by the family curse.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
Guys, I think we're gonna go ahead and end this part here. I definitely want to finish this game, or keep playing it with you guys. The storyline of this game is really fun, actually. I'm sure there's more to the story, and I'm sure we'll find that out in the next episode.